I always thought betrayal would come with dramatic music and slow-motion tears. Instead, it arrived on a Tuesday night while I balanced spreadsheets and listened to my wife choose her family's money over our marriage through a speakerphone. Gavin just doesn't understand modern investments, Lydia's voice carried from the kitchen, crisp and dismissive. He's too conservative, too scared to take real risks. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Her father Robert's gravelly response made my jaw clench. The crypto opportunity won't wait forever, sweetheart. Brandon's connections in the blockchain space are gold, pure gold. But we need Gavin's client base and his firm's reputation to make this work. I set down my pen, my financial planning certification suddenly feeling like a joke. 20 years building a solid practice, helping families secure their futures with boring, reliable investments. Apparently that made me a dinosaur. I know, Daddy. Lydia's tone shifted to that little girl voice she used when she wanted something. But Gavin keeps saying crypto is too volatile, too speculative. He actually used the word gambling last week. Brandon's laugh crackled through the speaker. Tell him gambling is what poor people do. Rich people take calculated risks. There's a difference. My brother-in-law, the self-proclaimed crypto entrepreneur who'd never held a real job longer than 6 months. His idea of calculated risk involved throwing money at digital coins with names like Dogemoon and SafeRocket. The launch party is this Friday, Brandon continued. I need Gavin there, schmoozing his clients, getting them excited about the future. This isn't just about money, Lydia. This is about family loyalty. There it was, the magic word that always made Lydia fold like a house of cards. I'll talk to him again, she promised. Maybe if I approach it differently? No. Robert's voice turned sharp. No more talking. It's decision time. Either Gavin supports this family or he doesn't. Either he's with us or against us. The silence stretched long enough for me to count my heartbeats. 1, 2, 3. And if he says no? Lydia asked quietly. Then you choose, her mother Camille finally spoke, her voice ice cold. Family money that could set you up for life, or a husband who's too scared to grab opportunity when it knocks. I waited for Lydia to defend me, to say something about marriage vows or partnership or even basic respect. Instead, she sighed. I understand. 2 words that felt like a knife between my ribs. The call ended, and I heard Lydia's footsteps approaching the home office. I quickly focused on my computer screen, pretending to review a retirement portfolio while my world crumbled in real time. Hey, honey. She appeared in the doorway, beautiful as always in her dental hygienist scrubs, blonde hair pulled back in a neat ponytail. 3 years ago, I would have pulled her onto my lap and kissed her neck. Now, looking at her felt like staring at a stranger. How was work? I asked, my voice steady despite the chaos in my chest. Fine. Busy day. She perched on the edge of my desk, a practiced smile on her lips. Listen, I was thinking about Brandon's crypto launch party on Friday. Maybe we should go, show some family support. Here we go. Lydia, we've talked about this. I've looked at Brandon's business plan. It's not a plan, it's a fever dream written in crayon. Her smile tightened. That's not fair, Gavin. Brandon has real connections in the crypto space. He's been studying blockchain technology for years. Studying YouTube videos and Reddit forums doesn't make someone a financial expert. You're being close-minded. I turned to face her fully. I'm being responsible. Do you know what happened to the last 3 revolutionary crypto projects Brandon got excited about? They collapsed. Every investor lost everything. This is different. How? She opened her mouth, then closed it, because she didn't know how. She was just parroting her family's words, like always. The Hendersons are interested, she said finally. And the Washingtons. Even Dr. Martinez asked about it at the office today. My clients. Of course. Lydia, I'm not risking my clients' money on Brandon's get-rich-quick scheme. End of discussion. Her expression hardened. It's not a scheme, Gavin. It's an opportunity. A chance for our family to finally have real money instead of just scraping by. Scraping by. In our 4-bedroom house with 2 cars and a healthy investment portfolio. Apparently not being millionaires made us peasants in the Hendricks family worldview. We're not scraping by, I said carefully. We're building wealth the right way, slowly, steadily, safely. Safely. She spat the word like it tasted bitter. Do you know what Maya posted on Instagram today? Pictures from her weekend in Miami. First-class flights, 5-star hotel, shopping at Bal Harbor. That's the kind of life we could have if you weren't so afraid of everything. Maya, her 28-year-old sister who made money by convincing teenagers to buy overpriced skincare products. Real sustainable wealth there. I'm not afraid, I said. I'm experienced. I've seen what happens when people chase quick money. It usually ends in tears. Or it ends in success. You just never want to find out which. The accusation hung between us like smoke. I could feel the conversation spiraling toward familiar territory. Me as the boring, fearful husband holding back his ambitious wife. What do you want me to do, Lydia? Risk everything we've built on Brandon's crypto fantasy? She stood up, smoothing her scrubs. I want you to trust my family. I want you to believe in something bigger than your safe little spreadsheets. And if I don't? The question slipped out before I could stop it. Lydia froze, her hand on the door frame. What do you mean? If I don't go to the party, if I don't encourage my clients to invest in Brandon's project, if I keep being the boring, conservative husband, what then? She turned to face me, and for a moment, I saw something flicker in her eyes. Uncertainty? Guilt? Then it was gone, replaced by cold determination. Then I guess we'll find out what's more important to both of us. She left me sitting there, staring at my computer screen full of retirement accounts and college savings plans. Boring, safe investments that had helped dozens of families sleep peacefully at night. My phone buzzed. A text from Maya. Can't wait for Friday. Brandon's going to make us all rich. If Rockavert's crypto life were not a family first. Below it, a photo of her posing with a martini at some trendy bar, designer purse prominently displayed. I set the phone aside and returned to my spreadsheets, but the numbers blurred together as I replayed Lydia's words. What's more important to both of us? I was about to find out. The family dinner happened on Thursday night, 24 hours before Brandon's crypto launch party. Lydia insisted we needed to show up, present a united front, discuss the opportunity like mature adults. I knew better. This wasn't a discussion. This was a tribunal. The Hendricks family mansion squatted on 3 acres of manicured lawn like a monument to new money. Robert had made his fortune in commercial real estate during the boom years, then diversified into tech stocks just before they exploded. He was smart, ruthless, and absolutely convinced that his success made him an expert on everything else. Gavin, Robert's booming voice greeted me as we walked through the front door. There's the man of the hour. I shook his hand, noting the Rolex Submariner on his wrist. New, probably cost more than most people's cars. Robert, thanks for having us. Wouldn't miss it. We're family, after all. Family. The word they wielded like a weapon whenever they wanted something. The dining room table could seat 12, but tonight it was just the core group. Robert at the head, Camille to his right, looking elegant in pearls and judgment. Brandon slouched in his chair, wearing a Bitcoin t-shirt and designer jeans, his laptop open beside his plate. Maya sat across from him, live-streaming her dinner to her followers. And here's my gorgeous daughter. Robert stood to hug Lydia, who practically glowed under his attention. We took our seats, Lydia next to her father, me relegated to the opposite end like a distant cousin. The symbolism wasn't subtle. Camille had prepared her usual spread, organic salmon, quinoa salad, roasted vegetables that cost more than most families spent on groceries in a week. Everything perfectly arranged, perfectly tasteless. So Gavin, Robert began before we'd even finished our first bites, Brandon tells me you have some concerns about tomorrow's launch. All eyes turned to me. I chewed slowly, buying time, studying their faces. Brandon looked smug. Maya kept glancing at her phone. Camille watched me like a hawk eyeing a mouse. Lydia stared at her plate. I have questions, I said finally. About the business model, the regulatory environment, the sustainability of the projected returns. Brandon snorted. Regulatory environment. Dude, crypto is about freedom from regulation. That's the whole point. The SEC might disagree. The SEC is run by dinosaurs who don't understand blockchain technology. I set down my fork. Brandon, help me understand something. Your white paper promises investors a minimum 20% monthly return. That's over 700% annually. What legitimate investment vehicle delivers those kinds of returns? Crypto isn't a traditional investment, he said, fingers dancing across his laptop keyboard. Look at these charts. Bitcoin is up 400% this year. Ethereum hit new all-time highs last month. This is the future, man. And how many altcoins crashed to zero in the same time frame? The weak ones. The projects without vision, without proper backing. His eyes gleamed. Our coin is different. We have real utility, real partnerships. With who? He waved vaguely. I can't reveal everything before tomorrow's announcement. NDA stuff, you understand? Of course, the mysterious partnerships that couldn't be verified or discussed. Classic red flag. Gavin, Robert interrupted, I understand your caution. It's what makes you good at your job. But sometimes caution becomes cowardice. The insult landed softly, wrapped in paternal concern. I smiled. Maybe, or sometimes experience prevents expensive mistakes. Like the mistake of missing the biggest wealth transfer in human history? Maya looked up from her phone. My followers are making bank on crypto. Some of them started with nothing, and now they're buying houses. And how many started with something and now have nothing? She shrugged. You can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs. Easy to say when it wasn't your eggs being broken. The thing is, Robert continued, leaning forward, this isn't just about money. It's about family, supporting each other. Brandon has worked incredibly hard on this project. I glanced at Brandon, who was now playing some kind of mobile game while the adults talked about his future. I'm sure he has. We're not asking you to invest your own money, Camille added, her voice honey-sweet. Just introduce some of your clients to the opportunity. Let them make their own decisions. There it was. They wanted me to be the Judas Goat, leading my clients to slaughter while taking none of the risk myself. My clients trust me to protect their interests, not expose them to speculative investments. Speculative? Brandon's head snapped up. Dude, everything is speculative. The stock market is speculative. Real estate is speculative. At least crypto has unlimited upside potential. And unlimited downside risk. Only if you're a paper-handed bitch. Brandon. Lydia spoke for the first time since we'd sat down. What? It's true. Successful crypto investors have diamond hands. They hold through the dips, ride the waves, trust the technology. They also diversify their portfolios and never invest more than they can afford to lose, I said. That's poor people thinking. The room went quiet. Even Maya stopped scrolling through her phone. Excuse me? Brandon shrugged. Rich people go all in on opportunities. They leverage everything, risk everything, because they understand that playing it safe is the riskiest move of all. I looked around the table. Robert nodded approvingly. Camille smiled. Maya was recording again, probably live streaming our conversation to her followers. And Lydia. Lydia was looking at me like I was the problem. Let me ask you something, Brandon, I said. What happens if your coin doesn't moon? What happens if the market crashes, or regulations change, or people just lose interest? What's your exit strategy? Exit strategy? He laughed. Bro, there is no exit strategy. This is the new economy. We're not exiting, we're entering. And if you're wrong, I'm not wrong. The certainty of youth, or stupidity. Sometimes it was hard to tell the difference. Gavin. Robert's voice carried a warning. I think you're overthinking this. Brandon has done his research. He has connections you and I can't even imagine. This is his generation's opportunity. And what about my generation's responsibility, to the clients who trust me with their life savings? Your clients are adults. They can make their own decisions. Based on information I provide. If I recommend something, they assume I've done due diligence. Then do due diligence, Camille suggested. Come to the party tomorrow, meet Brandon's partners, see the presentation, make an informed decision. I could feel the trap closing around me. Reasonable requests, logical suggestions, all leading to the same endpoint. And if I still say no? The question hung in the air like a challenge. Robert and Camille exchanged glances. Brandon kept typing. Maya held up her phone, making sure she captured every moment. Lydia finally looked at me. Then you say no, she said quietly. But you'll have to live with the consequences? What consequences? She took a breath. Missing out on the biggest opportunity our family has ever had. Watching everyone else get rich while we stay stuck in the same boring life. Our life isn't boring, Lydia. Isn't it? Her voice rose slightly. Same routine every day, same clients, same investments, same conversations about retirement planning and college funds. Don't you ever want more? I want security. I want to sleep at night knowing we're building something sustainable. I want to live before I'm too old to enjoy it. The room fell silent again. Maya was definitely recording now. Her phone pointed directly at us. So what's it going to be, Gavin? Robert asked. Are you with this family or not? The moment of truth. The line in the sand. The choice Lydia had been building toward all week. I looked at each of them in turn. Robert, confident and demanding. Camille, elegant and cold. Brandon, entitled and reckless. Maya, shallow and opportunistic. and Lydia, my wife of 8 years, waiting for me to choose between my principles and her family's approval. I'm with my wife, I said finally, but I won't compromise my professional ethics or risk my client's financial security for anyone, including family. Robert's face hardened. That's disappointing, Gavin. Very disappointing. I can live with disappointment. Can you live with the consequences? Before I could ask what he meant, Lydia spoke up. I think we should go. She was right. The dinner was over. The battle lines were drawn. We made our polite goodbyes, thanked Camille for the meal, promised to think about everything we'd discussed, but everyone knew the truth. I had failed the loyalty test. In the car, Lydia stared out the passenger window while I navigated the dark suburban streets. You embarrassed me tonight, she said finally. I was honest. You were stubborn. I was professional. You were selfish. I pulled into our driveway and turned off the engine. Selfish how? My family was offering you an opportunity, a chance to be part of something bigger than your little financial planning practice, and you threw it back in their faces. I protected my clients from a risky investment. You protected yourself from taking a chance. We sat in the dark garage, the silence stretching between us like a chasm. Lydia, I said carefully, what did your father mean about consequences? She unbuckled her seatbelt but didn't get out of the car. He meant that actions have results, choices have outcomes. What kind of outcomes? She finally turned to look at me, and in the dim light from the garage door opener, her face looked like a stranger's. The kind where you have to choose what's more important, your pride or your marriage. She got out of the car and walked into the house, leaving me sitting in the dark with the engine cooling and my world falling apart. My phone buzzed, a text from Maya sent to what looked like her entire contact list. Family dinner drama. Some people are too scared to get rich. Below it, a video clip of me saying, I won't compromise my professional ethics. The comments were already rolling in. Laughing emojis, fire symbols. Someone had written, R.I.P. Gavin's marriage. I deleted the text and went inside to find Lydia already in bed, facing away from me, her breathing too steady to be natural. I lay awake until dawn, staring at the ceiling and wondering when my wife had become my enemy. Friday arrived gray and drizzling, matching my mood perfectly. I spent the morning reviewing client portfolios and trying to pretend my marriage wasn't imploding in real time. At lunch, my phone started buzzing with notifications. Maya's video from dinner had gone viral in our social circle. The comments ranged from supportive to savage, but the message was clear. I was the boring husband holding back his ambitious wife. Sandy, my paralegal, and the closest thing I had to a work friend, knocked on my office door around 2. You okay, boss? You look like someone stole your lunch money. Sandy was 53, divorced twice, and had 0 patience for family drama. She'd worked for me for 6 years and could spot trouble from 3 counties away. Family issues, I said. The crypto thing? Of course she knew. Sandy made it her business to know everything that might affect our practice. Maya posted a video of you at dinner last night. Half the town's seen it by now. Great. My personal life as public entertainment. What are people saying? Sandy sat down across from my desk. Mixed reactions. Some folks think you're smart to be cautious. Others think you're being a stick in the mud. And what do you think? I think Brandon Hendricks couldn't run a lemonade stand without losing money, and his crypto project smells like week-old fish. That made me smile for the first time all day. But, she continued, perception matters in this business. If people start thinking you're out of touch or overly conservative, it could hurt us. She was right. Financial planning was built on trust and relationships. If my reputation took a hit, so would my client base. Any suggestions? Go to the party tonight. Show your face, be polite, let people see you're not some paranoid hermit. You don't have to endorse anything, just be present. I considered it. Lydia would be thrilled if I showed up. Her family would see it as capitulation, but maybe I could spin it as due diligence. Maybe you're right. I'm always right. It's my greatest character flaw. At 5:30, I drove home to find Lydia in full preparation mode. Hair perfectly styled, makeup flawless, wearing a black cocktail dress that probably cost more than some of my clients made in a week. You look beautiful, I said, and meant it. She glanced at me in the mirror. Thank you. Are you getting ready? I thought I might come tonight. Show some family support. Her face lit up like Christmas morning. Really? Oh, Gavin, that's wonderful. Daddy will be so pleased. She kissed me, and for a moment, it felt like old times, before crypto and family pressure and choosing sides. Just don't expect me to give any endorsements, I warned. I'm there as your husband, not as a financial advisor. Of course. I understand. But her smile suggested she expected more. The launch party was held at the Riverside Event Center, a gleaming glass building overlooking the water. Brandon had spared no expense: valet parking, open bar, servers circulating with expensive hors d'oeuvres. The guest list read like a who's who of local wealth and influence. Gavin. Robert appeared the moment we walked in, all smiles and backslaps. I'm so glad you decided to join us. Wouldn't miss it, I lied smoothly. The main hall was decorated with giant screens showing crypto price charts and blockchain graphics. A banner read, MercuryCoin, the future of digital wealth, in gold letters. Professional photographers moved through the crowd, capturing every moment for social media. Brandon worked the room like a seasoned politician, laptop in hand, explaining his revolutionary vision to anyone who would listen. He'd traded his Bitcoin t-shirt for an expensive suit, but the underlying arrogance remained unchanged. Ladies and gentlemen, the MC's voice boomed over the sound system. Please welcome the founder and CEO of Mercury Digital Solutions, Brandon Hendricks. Applause filled the room as Brandon took the stage, laptop connected to the main display. His presentation was slick, professional, full of buzzwords and pie charts showing exponential growth curves. Cryptocurrency isn't just the future, he declared. It's the present. While traditional investors cling to outdated models, crypto pioneers are building generational wealth. The crowd murmured approvingly. I recognized several faces: local business owners, real estate developers, even a few of my own clients. MercuryCoin isn't just another altcoin, Brandon continued. We have exclusive partnerships with major exchanges, backing from Silicon Valley venture capital, and a revolutionary staking mechanism that guarantees passive income for holders. Guarantees. My pressure spiked. No legitimate investment guaranteed anything. Our conservative projections show 500% growth in the first year alone. Early investors could see returns that dwarf traditional portfolios. More buzzwords, more promises, more impossible mathematics. But the audience was eating it up. Now, I'd like to introduce someone whose expertise speaks for itself. A respected financial planner who understands the importance of diversification and forward-thinking investment strategies. Please welcome my brother-in-law, Gavin Mercer. The spotlight swung toward me. Every head in the room turned. Lydia squeezed my arm, her eyes bright with excitement. This wasn't the plan. I was supposed to be a silent observer, not a featured speaker. Go on, Robert whispered behind me. They're waiting. I could feel the weight of expectation, the pressure of family loyalty, the promise of social acceptance. All I had to do was walk to that microphone and say a few supportive words about Brandon's vision. Instead, I smiled and shook my head. Thank you, but I'm just here to support family. This is Brandon's night. The spotlight lingered for another moment, then swung back to the stage. Brandon's smile flickered, but he recovered quickly. Of course. Gavin's always been the modest type, but I know he's excited about MercuryCoin's potential. The presentation continued for another 20 minutes. Charts, graphs, testimonials from early beta investors who'd supposedly made fortunes. It was professionally done, convincingly presented, and completely hollow. During the networking portion, I found myself cornered by Tom Richardson, who owned the largest car dealership in town. Gavin, hell of a presentation. What do you think about this crypto opportunity? Tom was a good guy, salt of the earth, built his business from nothing. He was also exactly the kind of person who could lose everything chasing quick profits. It's interesting, I said diplomatically. Brandon says you're helping vet the investment side. That true? I could see Lydia watching from across the room, her expression hopeful. Brandon was nearby, pretending to talk to someone else while clearly listening to our conversation. I'm not involved in the project, Tom. You'd need to do your own research, talk to your own advisors. But what's your gut feeling, off the record? My gut feeling was that Brandon was either delusional or running a sophisticated scam, but saying that would destroy my marriage and probably my reputation. My gut feeling is that crypto is volatile and speculative. Only invest what you can afford to lose completely. Tom's face fell. That doesn't sound very encouraging. It's realistic. He walked away, shaking his head. Within minutes, I could see him talking to other people, probably sharing my lukewarm response. The whispers started spreading through the room like ripples in a pond. Lydia appeared at my elbow. What did you say to Tom Richardson? The truth. Gavin, people are looking to you for guidance. If you keep being negative, you're going to hurt Brandon's launch. I'm being honest about the risks. You're being sabotaging. The word hit like a slap. Sabotaging? What else do you call it? My brother works for months on this project, puts everything on the line, and you show up just to undermine him? I showed up to support you. This isn't support. I don't know what this is. She walked away, leaving me standing alone by the bar. I ordered a whiskey and tried to blend into the background, but the damage was done. Word had spread that Gavin Mercer, respected financial planner, wasn't endorsing MercuryCoin. By the end of the evening, the party felt divided. Brandon's true believers were still excited, ready to throw money at his digital dreams. But the more cautious investors were asking uncomfortable questions, seeking second opinions, expressing doubt. In the parking lot, Robert cornered me while Lydia said goodbye to her family. That was disappointing, Gavin. Very disappointing. I was honest. You were destructive. Do you have any idea how much money Brandon could have raised tonight if you'd been supportive? Do you have any idea how much money people could lose if this thing goes south? It's not going south. Brandon knows what he's doing. Robert, with all due respect, Brandon has never successfully completed any business venture. His track record is failure after failure. Robert's face darkened. That's a hell of a thing to say about family. It's a hell of a thing to ask me to risk my reputation and my client's money on family loyalty. We stared at each other in the humid evening air, the sound of car engines and distant laughter filling the silence. You know, Robert said finally, Lydia could do better. The threat was subtle but clear. I smiled. Maybe, but she chose me. People change their minds. He walked away, leaving me standing alone under the parking lot lights. A few minutes later, Lydia emerged from the building, her earlier excitement replaced by cold anger. The drive home was silent. When we reached our house, she went straight to the bedroom and closed the door. I sat in my home office, staring at my computer screen, wondering how a marriage could unravel so quickly over something so stupid. My phone buzzed, a text from Maya. Thanks for ruining Brandon's big night. Hope you're proud of yourself. Then another from Brandon. Family loyalty goes both ways, bro. Remember that. And finally, one from an unknown number. Saw you at the crypto party. Smart man. These people are going to lose everything. A friend. I deleted the first two and stared at the third. Someone else saw through Brandon's presentation. Someone else recognized the warning signs. Maybe I wasn't as alone as I thought. But looking at the closed bedroom door, listening to the silence from the woman who used to be my partner, I realized that being right wasn't the same as being happy. And tomorrow, I'd have to decide which mattered more. Saturday morning brought the reckoning I'd been dreading. Lydia emerged from the bedroom at 10, fully dressed, her face set in stone. We need to talk, she said. I followed her to the kitchen, where she'd already made coffee for herself. Just herself. The symbolism wasn't lost on me. Last night was the final straw, Gavin. I waited. Experience had taught me that interrupting Lydia when she'd rehearsed a speech only made things worse. I've been thinking about this for weeks, but your behavior at Brandon's launch party made everything clear. We want different things. We have different values. We're different people. Lydia, let me finish. Her voice was steady, controlled. I want a partner who supports my family, who takes risks, who isn't afraid to reach for something bigger. You want to play it safe, criticize everyone else's dreams, and hide behind your professional ethics? My professional ethics protect people. They protect you from taking chances, from being vulnerable, from actually living. She poured herself more coffee, her movements precise and deliberate. I've made a decision. I'm moving in with my parents for a while. We need space to figure out what we really want. The words hit like a physical blow. You're leaving? I'm taking a break from this house, from this life, from pretending we're compatible when we're obviously not. Over crypto? You're ending our marriage over Brandon's get-rich-quick scheme? Her eyes flashed. I'm ending our marriage because you can't support the people I love, because you'd rather be right than be happy, because you've made it clear that your precious reputation matters more than our relationship. That's not fair, isn't it? When's the last time you took a real risk? When's the last time you did something spontaneous, something exciting, something that didn't involve a spreadsheet and a 5-year plan? I could have pointed out that our house, our cars, our comfortable life were all built on careful planning and calculated risks. I could have reminded her that excitement and financial security weren't mutually exclusive. I could have argued that loving someone meant protecting them from bad decisions, not enabling them. Instead, I asked, "What do you want from me, Lydia?" I want you to choose. Really choose. Not just say you support me while undermining everything my family tries to build. Either you're all in with us, or you're not. And if I'm not? She set down her coffee cup. Then we're done. The ultimatum hung between us like a sword. 8 years of marriage, reduced to a single choice: compromise my principles or lose my wife. I need time to think. You've had time, weeks of time. You've made your position clear at every opportunity. This is important, Lydia. You can't just what? Trust me? Trust my family? Take a leap of faith with the woman you supposedly love? I can't just ignore everything I know about investing, about risk management, about protecting people from financial predators. Financial predators? Her voice rose. You think my brother is a predator. I think your brother is in over his head with something he doesn't understand. And you think I'm too stupid to see that? I think you're too loyal to see it objectively. Wrong answer. Her face went white with rage. Get out. What? Get out of this house. Now. Today. I don't want to see you, talk to you, or deal with you until you decide what's more important, being right or being married. The conversation was spiraling beyond any hope of recovery. Every word I spoke seemed to make things worse. Lydia, please, let's slow down. Think about this. I'm done thinking. I'm done talking. I'm done pretending this marriage is working when it obviously isn't. She walked to the front door and opened it. Get your things and go. Stay at a hotel, stay with a friend, I don't care, but don't stay here. I looked at my wife, beautiful, furious, absolutely convinced she was right, and realized I was looking at a stranger. If I leave now, there's no coming back from this. I know. 2 words, final as a gunshot. I packed a bag in silence while she waited in the living room. Clothes, toiletries, laptop, important documents. The essentials of a life suddenly reduced to what fit in a suitcase. At the door, I tried one last time. I love you, Lydia. I've always loved you, but I can't be someone I'm not. And I can't be married to someone who doesn't trust me. I drove to the Hampton Inn downtown and checked into a room that smelled like industrial carpet cleaner and broken dreams. The view from my window showed the parking lot of a strip mall anchored by a check-cashing place and a liquor store. My phone started buzzing almost immediately. Text messages from numbers I recognized and some I didn't. Maya. Heard you finally showed your true colors. Lydia deserves better. Brandon. Hope you're happy, man. You just destroyed your marriage over jealousy. Robert. Disappointing but not surprising. Some people never learn to think bigger. And then, unexpectedly from Sandy, heard what happened. You okay? Need anything? I texted back, I'm fine. See you Monday. But I wasn't fine. I was sitting in a hotel room on a Saturday afternoon, my marriage in ruins, wondering how everything had gone so wrong so quickly. The answer came to me as I stared out at the strip mall. It hadn't been quick at all. The cracks had been forming for years, hidden beneath the surface of routine and politeness. Lydia's growing dissatisfaction with our life, her family's increasing influence over her decisions, my stubborn refusal to bend on issues I considered non-negotiable. The crypto project hadn't caused our problems. It had just exposed them. Around 6, I drove to a restaurant across town and tried to eat dinner while ignoring the curious stares from other diners. Word traveled fast in our community, and my separation from Lydia was apparently big news. My phone buzzed with a call from Tom Richardson. Gavin, Tom Richardson. Hope I'm not bothering you. Not at all, Tom. What's up? Well, I wanted to thank you for your honesty last night. After thinking about what you said, I did some research on that crypto project. And I found some troubling information. Seems like Brandon's exclusive partnerships aren't so exclusive. Half the exchanges he mentioned have never heard of him. My heart sank. Are you sure? Called them myself. Also looked into those venture capital backers he mentioned. Turns out they invested in a different crypto project with a similar name, not his. So Brandon wasn't just overly optimistic or naive. He was lying, actively deceiving investors with false claims about partnerships and backing. Tom, you need to share this information with anyone who's thinking about investing. Already started. But Gavin, you might want to know that people are saying you sabotaged the launch because you were jealous of Brandon's success. That's not true. I know that. But perception is reality in this business. Some folks think you were being petty. After Tom hung up, I sat in my car in the restaurant parking lot, processing what I'd learned. Brandon wasn't just promoting a risky investment. He was committing fraud, lying to investors about partnerships and backing that didn't exist, and my wife had chosen his side. I drove back to the hotel and spent the evening researching MercuryCoin. What I found was worse than I'd imagined. The white paper was plagiarized from 3 different legitimate projects. The technical specifications were copy-pasted from existing blockchains. The revolutionary staking mechanism was standard proof of stake with fancy marketing language. Brandon had built an elaborate lie, and dozens of people were ready to invest their life savings based on his deception. My phone rang, Lydia's name on the caller ID. "Hello?" "Gavin." Her voice was strained. "We need to talk." "I'm listening." Brandon's launch was a huge success. He raised over $2 million tonight. $2 million based on lies and false promises. That's significant. He wants to offer you one last chance, a chance to be part of the family business, to share in the profits. What kind of chance? He'll give you 5% of the company if you publicly endorse MercuryCoin. Send a letter to your clients, post on social media, use your reputation to bring in more investors. 5% of a fraud, 5% of other people's losses. And if I say no, then you're choosing your pride over our marriage, over our future, over everything we could have together. I closed my eyes, seeing the faces of my clients. Tom Richardson, who'd worked 60 hours a week for 30 years to build his business. The Washingtons, saving for their daughter's college tuition. Dr. Martinez, planning for retirement. All of them trusting me to protect their interests. "Lydia, I can't do that." Silence, then quietly. "Then we're done." The line went silent. I sat in my hotel room, staring at the phone, realizing that my marriage was over. Not because of incompatibility or growing apart or any of the usual reasons. Because I wouldn't help my brother-in-law defraud innocent people. And somehow, that made me the villain in this story. My phone buzzed with one final text from Maya. "Hope it was worth it. Hope your precious ethics keep you warm at night." I turned off the phone and stared out the window at the strip mall, thinking about choices and consequences, about loyalty and integrity, about the price of being right in a world that rewarded being wrong. Tomorrow, I'd have to figure out how to rebuild my life from scratch. But tonight, I just had to survive it. Monday morning arrived with the subtlety of a sledgehammer. I woke up in my hotel room to 17 missed calls and 43 text messages. MercuryCoin had crashed overnight, losing 90% of its value in 6 hours. The first call was from Sandy. "Boss, you need to get down here. The phones are ringing off the hook." Good calls or bad calls? Both. Half your clients want to thank you for steering them away from that crypto disaster. The other half are blaming you for not warning them strongly enough. I showered, dressed in my most professional suit, and drove to the office through streets that felt different somehow, like I was seeing my own town through a stranger's eyes. The parking lot was full of cars I didn't recognize. Inside, I found Sandy fielding calls while a dozen people waited in the reception area. Some looked grateful, others looked angry. All of them looked like they wanted answers. "Mr. Mercer," Tom Richardson stood up as I walked in. "Thank God you're here. I need to shake your hand." He pumped my arm enthusiastically while the other waiting clients watched. "You saved me from losing everything. My wife wanted to put $50,000 into that crypto scheme. If you hadn't warned me, I'm glad I could help, Tom." "Help? You did more than help. You showed integrity when everyone else was caught up in the hype." But not everyone shared Tom's gratitude. Jennifer Walsh, a newer client, stood up with her arms crossed. "Mr. Mercer, I lost $12,000 last night. Money I invested despite your warnings because my neighbor said you were just being overly cautious." "I'm sorry for your loss, Jennifer. You tried to cover your ass. You gave wishy-washy warnings instead of telling people the truth, that Brandon Hendricks was running a scam." She had a point. I'd been diplomatic when I should have been direct, worried about family harmony when I should have been protecting investors. "You're right. I should have been clearer about the risks. Damn right you should have been." She stormed out, but not before announcing to the room that she was taking her remaining investments elsewhere. The morning continued in that vein. Grateful clients thanking me for my caution, angry former clients blaming me for not being cautious enough. The local news had picked up the story, and reporters kept calling for comments about the MercuryCoin collapse and my prescient warnings. Around noon, Sandy knocked on my office door. "You've got visitors? The angry kind?" Brandon and Maya walked into my office like they owned the place. Brandon looked like he hadn't slept in days. Maya was recording everything on her phone. "This is your fault," Brandon said without preamble. "You poisoned people against my project. Your project poisoned itself. The partnerships you claimed didn't exist. The backing you promised was fabricated. The technology was plagiarized. That's just technical details. The vision was solid. The vision was fraud." Maya stepped forward, phone still recording. "You destroyed our family business because you were jealous, because you couldn't stand to see Brandon succeed where you failed. I protected people from losing their life savings on false promises. You protected your own reputation by tearing down someone else's dreams. I stood up, tired of being diplomatic, tired of being the reasonable one in an unreasonable situation. Your brother lied to investors. He claimed partnerships that didn't exist, backing that wasn't real, technology that was stolen. That's not dreams, Maya. That's fraud. Prove it. I opened my laptop and turned the screen toward them. Here's the white paper for MercuryCoin. Here's the original white paper it was copied from. Here's the list of exchanges Brandon claimed as partners. Here are the emails from those exchanges saying they've never heard of him. Brandon's face went pale as I clicked through the evidence I'd compiled over the weekend. Here's the venture capital firm he claimed was backing him. Here's their investment portfolio showing they funded a completely different project with a similar name. Those are just misunderstandings, Brandon stammered. These are lies. Deliberate, calculated lies told to separate people from their money. Maya lowered her phone. For the first time since I'd known her, she looked uncertain. Brandon, is this true? It's more complicated than... Is it true? He slumped in his chair. The crypto space moves fast. Sometimes you have to project confidence before all the details are finalized. You stole other people's work and lied about your partnerships, I said. That's not projecting confidence. That's committing fraud. Maya stared at her brother like she was seeing him for the first time. Brandon, people lost their life savings. They would have made it back when the coin recovered. It can't recover. It was never real to begin with. The office fell silent except for the sound of phones ringing in the outer office. Brandon looked defeated. Maya looked stunned, and I felt no satisfaction at all. Where's Lydia? I asked. At home, Maya said quietly. She's not taking this well. She chose you over me. She ended our marriage to support this project. She chose family loyalty, Brandon said, but his voice lacked conviction. She chose a lie, and now she has to live with the consequences. They left without another word. Through my office window, I watched them drive away in Brandon's Tesla, probably the last luxury he'd owned for a while. The afternoon brought more clients, more reporters, more phone calls. By 5 o'clock, I was exhausted and emotionally drained. Sandy locked the front door and poured 2 cups of coffee. Hell of a day, she said. Hell of a week. You going to be okay? I considered the question. My marriage was over. My reputation was damaged but intact. My business would survive, maybe even thrive, as word spread about my integrity during the crisis. I think so. Good, because tomorrow's going to be worse. Channel 7 wants an interview, the newspaper wants a statement, and half the town wants to either thank you or blame you for what happened. Any word from Lydia? Sandy's expression softened. No, but give it time. When the dust settles, she might see things differently. I doubted it. Lydia had made her choice publicly and definitively. Pride alone would keep her from admitting she was wrong. That evening, I drove past our house, my former house, and saw moving trucks in the driveway. Lydia was leaving, probably moving back in with her parents. The life we'd built together was being packed into boxes and hauled away. My phone rang. Robert Hendricks. Gavin, we need to talk. I don't think we do. This is about Lydia. She's not doing well. Despite everything, I felt a stab of concern. What do you mean? She's devastated about the crypto project, about your separation, about how everything fell apart. She made her choice. She made a mistake. We all made mistakes. But she's family, Gavin. She's my daughter. What do you want from me? I want you to consider taking her back, forgiving her, starting over. The request was so unexpected, I almost laughed. Robert, your daughter chose your son's fraud over our marriage. She called me selfish, stubborn, and closed-minded. She threw me out of our house. She was wrong. Yes, she was. And now she has to live with being wrong. You're going to punish her forever? I'm not punishing anyone. I'm protecting myself from people who value family loyalty over basic honesty. The line went quiet for a long moment. You're a hard man, Gavin. I'm a realistic man. There's a difference. After he hung up, I sat in my hotel room and thought about second chances, about forgiveness, about the difference between being right and being happy. But some bridges, once burned, couldn't be rebuilt. Some choices couldn't be undone. Some words couldn't be taken back. Lydia had chosen her family's lies over our marriage. She'd chosen Brandon's fraud over my integrity. She'd chosen being rich over being honest, and now she had to live with those choices, just like I had to live with mine. The next morning brought news that Brandon was under investigation for securities fraud. Maya had deleted all her social media accounts. Robert and Camille were facing civil lawsuits from investors who'd lost money based on their public endorsements. The Hendricks family empire was crumbling, and I felt no satisfaction in watching it fall. But I slept peacefully for the first time in weeks, knowing I'd chosen correctly when it mattered most. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Saw the news about MercuryCoin. You called it perfectly. Interested in discussing some legitimate investment opportunities. David Chen, Chen Capital Management. New clients. New opportunities. A new life built on the foundation of doing the right thing, even when it cost everything. I deleted the text and got ready for work. There would be time for new clients later. Today, I had to finish cleaning up the mess that loyalty to the wrong people had created. And tomorrow, I'd start building something better.